of my ancestors that jumped from the ships. Because they knew death was better than bondage.
Only our unity can provide us with anything like adequate protection.
Because you can't hate the roots of a tree and not hate the tree. You can't hate your origin and not end up hating yourself. You can't hate Africa and not hate yourself.
You're not niggas.
Faith, religion, brainwashing, the ailments mankind could never cure.
Man, rap today fucking sucks bad. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. These fools ain't spitting no type of dope shit. But that's not even the bad part. They're not even saying words anymore. They just got a hard-ass fucking beat to trick dumbasses like you to make you think you like the shit.
Hello, welcome to Young King Truth Tell. This is Kanye Tetsubo. Today, I'll be talking about loss. Hello, welcome to Young King Truth Tell. This is Kanye Tetsubo, and I'm here with Shanice to talk about what it means to be black with sickle cell. How are you today?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm well, yourself. So, what we're going to do is pretty much the same thing what I did last time where I interviewed someone, I asked them questions, they respond, and from there, let's begin. What was it like growing up with sickle cell?
Growing up with sickle cell was hard because you didn't get to do a lot of things other people could do.
So, what trials and tribulations did you or do you have to overcome living with sickle cell?
Trying to find a job, trying to go to school, trying to have a family, anything that is of the norm isn't easy because it tends to get put on the back burner due to your illness.
Okay, that's interesting. From a physical and emotional point of view, how has sickle cell affected your life?
Physical point of view, and pain, tend to not sleep well or be able to do, like I said, normal things, like a walk around the corner because it'd be very tiresome. Mentally, it gets overwhelming because you find yourself mad at certain situations that's out of your control.
And is dating hard with sickle cell?
Yep, very much so.
So do you feel as a black woman with sickle cell that the doctors put the maximum effort into treating your pain?
I wouldn't just say black, but that's with anybody with sickle cell. Doctors tend not to care, but lucky for me, I found a good hematologist.
So what would you like to be made aware about sickle cell? Like with people whose children are now just growing up with sickle cell?
It's not a death sentence. If you tend to do what you need to do, you can sit there and live along with it. There are complications, but you gotta learn and know your body. And not all sickle cell patients are drug seekers. And hospitals, they really don't give a crap. So you have to stay on top of the hospitals and nurse staffs and doctors and just know who you are and stand your ground.
And what would you say affected you also while like at school? How did that really affect you? Did you get left behind at any point?
Well, if you tend to tell the school that you're sick, they tend to work with you. College, not so much. There's some teachers that understand, but when you're in college, everybody feels as if you're grown, so you could deal with it because there's people there with children, there's people there with other diseases. High schools and middle schools, they tend to work with you more. But I guess you got to figure it out.
Okay. And do you have your family's full support during your times of pain?
No, I don't.
The clip you just heard where I interviewed Shanice, her real name Deidre, she recently passed. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because she was also my fiance. In a way, I've been holding off on doing this podcast because my grandfather also recently had passed. Days right after she had passed. She passed away on the 25th and he passed away on the 27th. And as a black man, it's honestly not easy because we're told that we're not supposed to show any emotion. We're supposed to be strong, and it's honestly been difficult because I, in a way, had numbed myself from feeling anything. The day after she passed, I would think about all the times that we had together from high school all the way until now, and it was hard, honestly, because I would cry over those little things, and I would just, with my wash rag, just wipe my face down and just convince myself that I'm okay. I honestly convinced myself that things will be alright, and that's just the mindset I've been in since it all happened. I've told other people, and their response would be, have you talked to the family yet? And in my case, no, I haven't, because it's like, I don't know what I would say, because this is someone who I just recently, in a sense, got back together with in December, late December, and pretty much she said that we will eventually put the engagement ring to use. And in December, it would not just been a marriage, but a honeymoon as well. The thing was, she liked to keep things private, so even if I could prove that we were technically engaged, it's not about that. It's the fact that we all lost somebody who we truly cherished and cared about. As far as my grandfather goes, that one is a little more of a deep cut, because this is someone who has raised me since I was a baby. And yeah, there's been issues in the past, and no lie, I even said that if something were to ever happen to him, I would be like a pit bull, just mean. But as soon as things started to happen, I was the first one to break down and was not mentally prepared for it, because it's like you try to convince yourself that you're going to be this mean person, like you're going to just treat them the way they've always treated you at their worst. But in reality, it's not a part of our nature to treat other people the way they treat us, especially when they have done you wrong, and at the same time they're the ones that raised you, so it makes it even more difficult. And with all this emotional trauma that I just faced, I just completely numbed myself, and it's very painful to have these thoughts and memories, both good and bad, with both my fiance and grandfather. And it's like I barely remember all the bad things, and now it's like all the good things start flooding my way. Like with my fiance, we met back in high school. I believe I was in the 11th grade at the time. She was in the 12th. And it was a strange meeting of fate, I believe. Because this is someone who has literally seen me at my worst of the worst. And granted, we've bumped heads a lot. Like, on more than one occasion, we've bumped heads. It's been to the point where she has cussed me out and stopped talking to me for days and weeks at a time. But somehow, some way, we always end up talking again. And when she was in the hospital with her sickle cell acting up, I would try my best to be out there to visit her. And like one time when she was at the hospital, I had to run some errands for her, pretty much, and it didn't seem like nothing would ever stop her, because that just seemed like a regular routine. And it was very saddening seeing her in pain like that. And you sometimes wish that you could do more for them, especially when it's someone who you may share a different opinion, you may bump heads, all that, but you still end up being like friends with them on a deep emotional level. And even recently, when she was in the hospital, it was me who was out there, like whenever I could on my days off from work. I would definitely try to be out there to see her. That interview itself happened after she got out of the hospital. She had spent 3 months or so in the hospital. The people she was living with, they weren't helping, because she pretty much she had her own apartment at that time. And these people were supposed to be paying the bills and everything, like split. It was like a split type of thing where I pay my half, you pay your half. And it was more than one person living there, I believe. But no one was paying the bills, so she, while in the hospital, technically was homeless when she got out. And when she needed help with selling some things, I bought some things like from her. She was trying to sell a ring. I bought the ring from her and told her to keep it as an engagement ring. When she was saying that she was hungry, that the hospital wasn't really feeding her, that they had a program that you, for $60 while the remainder of the time she was in the hospital, that she could get regular food in there. And I was like, okay, on my next paycheck, I got you. My next paycheck came around, I sent her the money and pretty much helped her out. And I ain't do any of those things so she could feel like she owed me or anything. I did it because pretty much this is someone who I had history with. This is someone who pretty much, even though she said most of the time she would like to kill me because of the things I do and some of the things I say, but this is someone who pretty much had my back and I would have hers. And we were just real good friends, so we gave it one last chance. And pretty much it was going great for a little while. Yeah, we was getting on each other's nerves, but that was nothing new. We always get on each other's nerves with things we say and do. One of the things that she had said that we should try to do more often than before is talk every day. And the day that she went to the hospital, she told me, she sent me her last photo, and I pretty much just told her to just get some rest, and because that night I was working, and then when I got home off work, I was super tired. I went to sleep, didn't wake up till around the time it was time to go back to work. I was so busy rushing, trying to make sure I had everything for work, and trying to make sure that my phone was completely charged, that I was just in a rush. I was just out of it. Just my brain was so focused on getting myself together. I ain't talked to her that Sunday. And when my day off came around that Monday, I was just not trying to deal or talk to anybody. And then Tuesday came when I hung up with my best friend. We went to do my taxes, and then we went to Walmart afterwards because I was trying to get stuff to like provide for the house, since my grandfather was in the hospital since the 1st of February. After all that was finished, came home, I checked Facebook, and our old high school teacher is saying RIP to her. And in my mind, it's like, wait, what? That can't be real. So I click on it. Her name was highlighted. So I click on her name. It takes me directly to her page, and there was people are saying, "Sleep in peace, may you rest in peace." They're giving their condolences, and I go farther back and I see it there on her sister's page that she passed away. She not only had sickle cell, but she also had a weak heart. She had a pacemaker, and at times when she would come over to my house, she was carrying around a oxygen tank. We would just sit there in bed, on my bed, and talk, and she would sometimes fall asleep right there. I guess my bed was super comfortable because she always fell asleep in my bed at some point, but it was nothing out of the ordinary. She would just talk to me, and we would remember things. And the very, very last time I saw her before she ended up in the hospital, she was telling me how she was hanging out with a group of people we knew back in high school, how everybody was talking about me and saying how I was weird back then. And then she was like, "You gotta admit it, you were weird." And I'm like, yeah, I was weird, but shoot, people change, and you're about the only person who see I changed. Otherwise, what do they know about me? And after that, she ended up leaving, and that's when, because we was also talking about going to have our she was talking, well, I had convinced her to get on the phone line with me so that we both don't have to pay so much with our bills and everything. If we could just pay one bill, that's it. And we were supposed to do that Monday, but she ended up canceling that Saturday because she was in the hospital. And it was like, for me, it was like, okay, I'll sleep that day, pretty much, because I was just out of it. So for me, this is all like still unbelievable, and it could be also because I've numbed myself to the point where I just don't feel nothing. And I'm contemplating on whether I'm going to go to the wake and the funeral, and because I don't know if I'm even strong enough at the moment to go to those things. Like, I want to, but I don't know if I should. And with my grandfather, the thing was, it started with my grandmother. That the 1st of February, where she had took too much of her medicine and almost overdosed. He had saw a friend of his. I'll put in parentheses because this guy pretty much is in a sense, a dope dealer. My grandfather, let me explain a little about him. He was missing a finger. He had got hurt at work, and they had to surgically remove his finger. It was the middle finger, and he had a ton of surgeries done on his arm. So in order to not feel that type of pain, he became addicted to painkillers. And that was his way of relieving the pain. Cold weather was his enemy. It really did not agree with him a lot. When he did not have the medicine, he went through withdrawals, but he would recover from it. On top of that, he started to show signs of dementia. And I believe that it started to get worse in December as well, because he did not remember how to start the car. One night they were supposed to take me to work, and he said he had lost the car keys. Now, and it's like, when I started looking back on these things, it's like maybe those were signs that I was missing, and maybe I could have handled them a little better, but I didn't. Because he was talking about how he lost the car keys, and then later, supposedly, he finds the car keys and parked the car in the yard. And for me, because I know who he is and everything, I know when he parks the car in the yard, that means he's done for the night. He's not going nowhere. So when I saw that, I didn't believe that he lost the car keys. I believe that he just was saying that he lost them, but really didn't, because him and my grandmother, they didn't really like me working security. They really didn't want me to really work at all. It was like they truly did not like the idea of me working or working security. So I thought, since I had just got this job, this was just their way of trying to keep me from going to work. And I don't know, I guess I should have recognized and seen the signs a little sooner, because they only told me that he had dementia at least one time, or what they were saying, borderline, or so. It was so about a year, I think around 2018 when they said that. So I ain't think nothing of it. I thought it was just like a slow process, that something like that would happen gradually as the year go by. Not something that happened in a span of a few months. And the thing about his death is ironic, that because he was born on November 27th and he died on February 27th. He truly did live an interesting life, considering all the stuff that I know about him and what people told me. And it's a shame, because he used to run track and used to do archery, play horseshoe. He worked at the Greater Jewish Federation here in Miami. Pretty much just was a jack of all trades, from fixing sinks to installing locks on doors to like working on the roof, and many of those things I've seen him do. So I picked up on a lot of those things and what to do and what you would really need in fixing the house, basically. But again, it's not like it's always been rainbows and sunshine. There's obviously been times where we clashed and things that were said that you wish could be taken back, but at the same time, it was hurting people, and in a way, what he created out of me was something that I would say was a very spiteful person and a hurtful person. And I had to reprogram my own self from those ways. And it's like, even with what he recently supposedly told my mother, whom I did an interview with, it's shocking, but at the same time it's not shocking, because she is his daughter, and I believe that whatever stuff that was told, it would be taken out of context, or stuff would be made up just to be said. Because I told her about these things that happened inside the house when they were raising me, and she generally seemed upset about those situations. Because I told her everything. I ain't hide not one fact. And then when you hear the other side with the person, what they're saying, it's like, wow, okay. So you believe the person who is slightly has dementia, but at the same time is known to play the victim at times, versus the one who has no reason to lie to you, who was taken from you as a child. So yeah, I'm hurt by the fact that I'm not believed, but at the same time I'm not shocked. And now, in the slightest way, I do regret letting her back in my life, because now that I have, and all this has happened with my grandfather, is like, it showed me what type of person she really was from the beginning. And this is just how it is with our family. And it's a lot deeper than that, but today I just want to focus on just the pain and the loss, because it's really not easy just feeling these things. Well, for me, the lack of feeling anything. It's like I am in pain to the point where it hurts to eat. It hurts to sleep. I feel like everything that I eat, I just have to immediately get out of me. And it's hard to focus. It's really just painful just to even think of these things. But at the same time, it's something that needs to be said, and something that I just need to get out there. Granted, there are others, especially when it comes down to my love life, where I do have my best friend whom I also proposed to. But at the same time, it's still a battle, because that was a battle with myself, because Deidre was my first girlfriend, my first real relationship, my first love, the very first experience what it means to date as a black man, and that's where I made all my mistakes at. And then I ended up in the second relationship, and I ended up back with her again. Like, stuff that I learned in that second relationship, with her, with the second person, at least I took over to being with her again. The reason why we broke up that second time was not because it was anything wrong with us. It was more that she had moved or was moving out of state to North Carolina. And when she eventually moved back, we just stayed friends. And then that's when I found a friend, I would say, who I started to fall for and date a little. But then she just said that she wanted to just become friends with benefits. And then I found someone who wanted to be an actual relationship. I dated her, but then the other girl, a woman at least, got mad because I had sex with the one who pretty much wanted to be in a relationship with me, and I would say, emotionally manipulated with that other person. And it was like it was a learning process. And between Deidre and my best friend, those two are the main two who, through it all, through thick and thin, has been by my side no matter what. Yes, Deidre has not been there for me in the strongest suit, but with certain situations, but has been there and knows my family life as well as my best friend. Those two are the only two whom I actually proposed to and tried starting a family with, because it was something about Deidre and her qualities that, I don't know, made me as a black man feel a certain type of way. And she, as a black woman, we would have our moments. Like I said, we would agree to disagree, bump heads. It was like where we would not talk for days and stuff like that, but it was something about her that I truly did love, and she will definitely be missed. And I think if anything were to happen to my best friend, I would shut down and out of the world entirely, because that is someone who I honestly can say I cannot see myself living without. And the thought of that just honestly scares me. It's like, if the person is still alive, you could talk to them, you could rekindle something, you could rebuild the friendship, like how me and Deidre did. But once that person is gone, there is no respawning in video games term. There's no coming back. There's no continuing. There's no Phoenix down or up or wherever, and there's just no coming back. Once you have died, the only thing that's left for those others to do is to mourn your death. They will never be able to hear your voice again. The only thing they have is the memories of you and the good times. Some people would choose to celebrate your life rather than your death, and others would be too hurt to celebrate anything. Some will shut down and shut out. Others will find ways to drown their sorrows and just try to be alone. And me, at the moment, I'm in the latter of things, because I still do have my best friend, and she knows about me and Deidre as well. Deidre knew about her. They know that both of them were the most two important women in my life, and I've helped out both of them, and not just to throw it in their faces, but because that's just who I am, and I protect who I love, and I love to protect them. And now that my ex fiance is gone, she was not just an ex fiance, she was a friend, a deep friend who I cared about, and now I just have to really truly focus on what matters in life. And whatever lesson I took from being with Deidre, the good things, I have to just take those and try to make a better relationship, me and my best friend, because we have it rough, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to always be that way, but it's just life. You take lessons from them no matter what, and never forget the good times. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of The Uncanny Truth Teller with Kanye Titsbo. If you would like more, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well follow us on Anchor at The Uncanny Truth Teller. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And with that being said, thank you for listening. Goodbye.
The stars lean down to kiss you, and I lie awake and miss you. 'cause I'll doze off safe and soundly, but I'll miss your arms around me. I'd send a postcard to you, dear, 'cause I wish you were here. Turn light blue, but it's not the same without you, because it takes two to whisper quietly. The silence isn't so bad till I look at my hands and feel sad, 'cause the spaces between my fingers are right where yours fit perfectly.